Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of the Sam Dever podcast. In this episode, I talk with my old friend, Marshall Wayne. Marshall and I connected back on Facebook about 10 years ago, and I have to say you're in for a real treat. Marshall is, and I'm just going to say it, an online branding genius. I've watched him over the years evolve and really show people what's possible when taking any business or brand and how you can market it and make it look like multi-million-dollar marketing online. He's very creative, he's very intelligent, and honestly, he's just a really cool dude. And I really enjoyed catching up and talking with him, and I especially am looking forward to all of you hearing his story about his recent business venture, The Mounting Man in Minneapolis, how he basically went from 0 to 60 mounting TVs in Minneapolis and marketing it into the business to what it's become right now. So if you're into marketing, if you're into entrepreneurship, or you just want some good inspiration of something cool someone has done during the pandemic, I highly recommend you listen. And because of our conversation, it reminded me, you know what? I think the book of the episode is going to be The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I haven't read this in a long, long time, but this was Tim Ferriss's, I believe, his, first huge book to the world, and him getting on to the mainstream platforms, if you will. But it's just really a good entrepreneur book of thinking of different ways you can make money, different ways to look at life. Pretty much that work smarter, not harder mentality. And after talking with Marshall, it just got me thinking about what opportunities might be out there and what you might find that could be out there too that you could turn into, whether it's a business or something you want to get into. So The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. With that all being said, I look really forward to you listening to this episode. Here's my conversation with Marshall. I think by now I have learned it's official. Marshall Wayne, welcome to the Sam Dever podcast.
Hey, my friend. It's good to see your face.
Oh, it's great to see you. I believe the last time I physically saw you was in Griffith Park.
You were wearing a Kermit the Frog costume.
I was wearing a Kermit the Frog costume.
That's the last time. That's a long time ago.
That's been like at least 6 years, I think.
Yeah, for
6
sure.
to 7 years ago.
7, I bet, yeah.
7, which is crazy.
Yeah,
how long ago did you leave California? When did you?
So Mallory and I have been together just over 5 years, like 5.5.
Okay.
And so, right around that time. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you met her, then where did you meet her? Did you meet her out here or?
Sort of. She came out to LA for her 30th birthday party with her sister, and her sister knew me. And her sister said, hey, we should get a hold of Marshall. And then I wasn't there. I was back home. And so it still kindled something, And so we started talking and then got together,
So her sister is responsible.
Yes. Yeah, she's the Cupid.
That's awesome. No, I love seeing you and Mallory and your family through social media.
I appreciate
you're like
that.
one of those. I have like those special, I guess would be quote unquote family goal people.
Yeah, good.
I follow and just watching it unfold through social media. You guys meeting, blossoming your relationship. Now you have a child.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, my friend. I do too.
Yeah, and I'm going kind of reverse here, which is fine. But
we go any order. We can mix and match.
A little bit of smorgasbord here.
Yeah.
I am curious to get your perspective on, how has family life changed you or inspired you, and then obviously having an actual child now. You can maybe take
it's. I don't know how to explain it. It's just such. Like, you feel like the moment that child is born, you wonder what the hell you're wasting your time doing before that. That's how it felt. So I think Seinfeld said it kind of like this. He said it about marriage, but I feel it about having a child. He said when he was single, he thought married people were mundane and boring. And now that he's married, he thinks single people are absolute idiots, And so whatever you're in, you think that's cool. right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like that. Your mind immediately flips and goes, now I have something important to really focus on. Whereas before I mean, business is fantastic as a pursuit, but it's just your sole focus and sort of an egotistical focus, really, which is perfectly fine. But when the child comes, it's just a complete, like, you take all your energy off yourself and then put it onto the child. So that's how I'd explain it.
Is it really one of the, in talking to my other friends too, that, and I'm finding as I'm hitting my mid 30s now, it's like looking around and everyone's like on kid number 2, kid number 3. Just,
yeah.
But it's like they all tell me similar to what you kind of said too, but it's just unexplainable. You can prep for it all you want,
Yeah.
but it's not until like that actual moment that
It's
you can
crazy.
even begin to understand.
Because before that, people give you these cliche lines, and you're like, whatever, I don't like to listen to that stuff, but it's all true, you know. But you think it's dumb until you experience it, and then you go, "Oh, that's actually exactly how I felt." So, yeah.
And you're out in Minneapolis now.
Yep, in Minnetonka.
Okay.
It's a suburb of Minneapolis. You probably know it from Dave Chappelle's show.
Oh, is he talking about that exact place?
Yeah, because he was playing or Charlie Murphy was playing basketball with Prince, and then so they did a skit about it. So.
Okay. That's something I got to look up. I got to still see the Chappelle special too that just came out.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Is it?
He takes every point that would get him canceled and goes for it, like dives in the deep end. And he does it in such a way where he's just a master, where you're like, holy crap, I can't believe he tightrope walk that whole thing.
And the beauty,
it's phenomenal.
The beauty of him, I was listening to someone, like, he's the guy who doesn't care if he does get canceled.
No,
because he walked away already
at
once.
one point. Yeah. 40 million on the table. He went to Africa.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, because they wanted him to make it more family friendly so they could have bigger advertisers. He said, nah, not doing it.
Takes like a 10-year break, was doing stand up randomly in parks.
Yes.
In between, would just show up with a mic and just start talking.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to California real quick, and I definitely want to get into the anatomy of everything you do. The last time I did see you was here in California. You were in Hollywood, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
And see, this is before I knew anything about LA. That time I came to visit you, I had only been there maybe one time before. Didn't know what was what, but now I've been out here for almost 4 years and got a little more lay of the land. And there are times when I've been at Griffith, I'm like, oh, this is where I was with Marshall once.
I know, that was fantastic.
So could you maybe talk a little bit about your California experience and maybe how that, because I noticed on some of your profiles, Hollywood probably was some type of influence into your marketing and things you do. So
it's like my whole thing, and so to live there was great because I had this brand early on called the Movie Star Entrepreneur, where I would just, I don't know, emulate things from movies and TV shows, scenes that I liked, and then see if I could replicate maybe 10 seconds of it on video, or maybe make it into an image that conveyed the same feeling to an audience. And then hopefully that audience would follow me, want to buy stuff from me, right? So that was the whole premise behind that. But I didn't live in Hollywood at the time, so I eventually did move there and just immerse myself in, all the things I could sort of learn. There's some osmosis that takes place when you're in a city, sort of gets into your being, and then gets into your work then. So it was fantastic being there. But since I had been there long enough, I have that thread, and so it's still there,
Yeah. I agree with that. And that's how Las Vegas is for me. I lived there for so long.
Yeah.
Like, it's just in you now.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
And
you can go back and you feel comfortable. You don't feel like an outsider again.
It's home. It's one of my homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I no, that's interesting you said that because I'm like a huge supporter of people wanting to go try different cities
Oh, me
because
too.
yeah, what the worst that happens is you live there, you move there, and I don't like it that much. Maybe I move back to where I came from. That's
Yeah,
you get it, like you said, you get a piece of it. You get
yeah, you
exposed to
do.
so many different things and people and ideas, and that's invaluable.
You know what I found though? Like, you have to be like I am in that no matter where you live, you'll like it.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people who, no matter where they go, they hate it. No matter who they date, they can't stand that person.
Yeah.
You know, it reflects, it's them, not the
Mm.
city, not the boyfriend or girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
Um, you just, wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So you have to deal with your own shit.
Yeah.
And so if you don't really like your life, you're not going to like a new city,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, it's interesting and touching. You mentioned the movie star entrepreneur. When I think of Marshall Wayne, and I think go back to when we first connected on Facebook, that's another thing. I've been having these talks lately of these people I've connected with. I almost view it as like we connected back in the good old days of social
Yeah.
media, like back when really
Right?
Facebook was it. Facebook, MySpace,
Yeah.
and maybe Twitter was starting to emerge somewhat.
Yeah.
But there was something beautiful about it because I know you have too. Uh, Made so many connections where you eventually did meet up with these people and connect with these
Yep.
people. It was like this. It was like this strong online community, but it was
Yeah. And
legit.
it felt like we'd met 100 times
Exactly.
because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's a fascinating thing. Like, if, you know, if you go to a seminar, give a speech or something, the people there, then when you get off stage, will be like, I already feel like I know you because, you know, the voice matches what they've seen on videos, you
Mhm.
know, and so it's like a little weird. Um, I don't know. It's a fascinating thing when you meet somebody that you've just watched daily almost online.
Yeah, and going into what you do, and I mean, I'll call it the genius of what I've seen you do. To really, I mean, online branding. You're one of the best I've seen at it. Like you're one of the best I've seen of not only like making a good brand or marketing it, but like really like your brand set like the Hollywood type
Yeah.
feel to it. And I feel like you were one of those first people who really showed people like, hey guys, this is what's possible.
Yeah.
Because now everyone has equipment of all kinds, but you were doing this
Oh
stuff
yeah.
years ago. So could you maybe just take us from that journey, like what got you in to marketing and through social media? Kind of just take us on that your own
Well,
creative.
what got me into marketing was just because I wanted to be rich. And so I started to dive down that path and figure it out. And so, I mean, my first foray was on eBay selling diet pills and cheap watches.
Mm.
You know, anything that a company would let me buy with my $500 credit limit on my credit card
Yeah.
that I got signed up. You know, it was one of those, you sign up for a spring break t-shirt, you get a credit card. And so I had $500 limit. And so that's what I used. And, um, you know, quickly I realized, started listening to these Dan Kennedy tape sets. You know, for anybody watching, he's just a legendary copywriter. And then I would just structure my eBay ads in a way that matched what he was telling me to do. Whereas other eBay ads would have not even a photo, and it would just have a one line description. You know, like let's say it was, I would sell this anti snoring spray. Didn't work. It was called Snorens, and Mallory's laughing in the background, like, yeah, it didn't work. um, and so that stuff, the other people who were selling it were doing really well, and so whatever was doing well that was on like the top list, whatever they called it at the time, like the eBay fire list or something like that. Um, I would contact the company and see if I could get in, you know,
Mhm.
buy the product, and then I would make a better auction and then sell it. And so I would make these auctions that would say, the first it was coded with HTML, not typical text type, and it would say like, "Does your husband sound like a chainsaw in the middle of the night?" or something like that, to get people to laugh and get their
Yeah.
attention. And, wife would go, yeah, hell yeah, he does.
Give me 3 bottles right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so I would just experiment with stuff that I learned from Dan Kennedy. And
Mm.
I killed it on eBay. I was one of the original power sellers in college. So just because when people were not using visuals, first, I used images, but I assume you knew that. Where everybody else maybe had the generic product photo, but it was like a tiny little, terribly pixelated image.
Yeah.
Where I would just shoot a photo of the product. It wasn't what I could do now, but it's way better than what they were doing.
Right.
So I don't know. The marketing was just because I wanted to be rich, be a businessman. That was my thing.
And then social media comes along.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Because eBay, obviously, that was 1999, 2000 when I was really getting into that. So junior, senior year of college. And I mean, Facebook didn't come along till, MySpace was just around that era, but I didn't know how to use it to market.
Right.
It was just to communicate with friends. I had no clue how to use it. I didn't see the potential. Like there were certain people who blew up from there, like Dane Cook and Tila Tequila.
Mm-hmm.
They used MySpace as a platform to blow up.
Yeah.
I didn't see that vision at all. At all. And then when Facebook came along, I kind of started to. And especially when YouTube came along. I mean, YouTube's changed the game. There's so many creators that are as famous as movie stars now on YouTube, which is mind blowing. Yeah,
and it almost seems now too. I feel sometimes like it's a gift and a curse now, because now social media it's no longer like everyone's on it. Everyone does it. Like everyone has access to so many. I mean, you can shoot feature films now on this.
I know.
On a really good ones too. It's like I'm amazed some of the stuff they do. It's almost like there is like an oversaturation to some degree with everything.
Yeah.
Where like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I was having this talk with another creative friend of mine. I call it back in the DSLR days. That was the only way to make videos back then. Like
I know,
going to events or photography or anything like that, you had to put in a certain amount of work. You had to have equipment. And there also came, I feel like, a certain level of pride with that.
There was.
Because it's like, hey, I'm a
now, like, everybody I know has a DSLR.
Yeah.
Or a new mirrorless camera, whatever they have. But back then, it was like, I had a set, I remember it was a Canon 7D. And that was like...
It's a good camera.
I don't know, $1,500.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like ecstatic that I could buy this thing that looked like it was shooting a movie, I don't know, it was a revelation. So I just went bonkers with it and did every idea that would pop into my mind. I would film and put out there for marketing purposes, or just sometimes just for fun, because I thought it was a fun idea that had no business implication at all. But yeah.
Yeah. I remember too, like, I remember you've done a lot of like, what you're really good at is you're really good at like behind the scenes stuff in your projects.
I do.
And I have a photographer friend. She's the same. Like, it's like people see that you're working and you're giving us pieces of what you're doing, and then we see your final product. Well, so eventually someone's like, well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
They're either going to need to hire you
they either hire you or say, hey, do you have some sort of course I can sign up for?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because they see the process, admire it, and can visualize themselves being the subject in that process. And so that, I feel, is so powerful to show that behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I'll fast forward to now, because now you have a new project going on.
Yeah.
Something you've been doing this past year, which I really don't know too much about, but I definitely want to talk about. Could you tell us about the Mounting Man?
Yeah, so most of my marketing was for mastermind groups, live event mastermind groups, like all of it. And so those went to zero,
Man.
And so it was just crushing. Like everything was just crushing down on me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I got to figure something out. I'm not a single guy anymore. I can't, I just had to figure it out. So I started doing these handyman jobs on an app called TaskRabbit.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I did that is because I was at IKEA one day to buy a $50 desk, the desk I'm using right now. And it said, "Would you like this installed?" And I thought, well, I don't need it installed, but I wonder what that's all about. And I followed that rabbit hole, and they have a company called TaskRabbit where you can just set your own rates. And so again, what I did is initially I was like, well, shit, everybody's got like $20 an hour, so I'll do 25. But I'm like, I don't want to do that for $25 an hour. But I thought, don't use that attitude. Just dive in and see what happens, right? And so I did. Well, first people started the tips, so I was making quite a bit more than that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I realized I'll keep upping my rates. So I went to 35, I think, and then I was at a wedding for a friend, and then Mallory and I just kind of joked like, put it at $70 an hour. I think we said $69 an hour, but I didn't want to say that just as a goof, you know. Nobody cared. Higher, higher, higher. And so then I put it up to $100 an hour, and then eventually $125 and $150 an hour.
Wow.
And so I have the reason being, it's similar to the eBay days. The people on there will look like kind of creeps, like they'll shoot like this for their profile photo, you know, that type.
Yeah.
And so obviously I have a professional brand on there. You know, I don't use it anymore, but that's what led me into figuring out, okay, these are the things that take too long, don't make that much money. These are the things that take less time, make more money. And mounting TVs was the thing that people paid the most for, because TVs are the most expensive thing that they had, you know, as opposed to assembling like an IKEA dresser. They're not going to pay you $300 to do that because it only costs $200. So, but for a TV, an 86-inch TV that costs $3,000, they'll definitely give you $300.
Mm.
So I just, right when I realized that, I said to Mallory, I think I'm just going to put up a website and just start marketing on Google and see what happens. Immediately was gangbusters right off the bat.
Wow.
Because again, I'm competing against handymen who don't know what they're doing. They don't even kind of believe in having a web presence at all. And so it's like just shooting fish in a barrel. It's easy as can be.
Wow.
But having said that, I had to learn how to mount a TV.
Wait, did you know how to mount a TV before it even really got?
No, I mean, I'd put mine up, you know, with like, hope this holds type of,
yeah.
You know. And so I had to learn it though on a basis where no matter what wall it was, brick, plaster, drywall, if I can't find the studs, I mean, there's so many variables that go into it when you do something professionally versus when you just hang something in your house. So yeah, I had to learn it. And so I would just,
awesome.
With each job, I would be nervous. Like now when I go to a job, I don't care a bit because I have every tool, I have every anchor. Yeah. There's just nothing I see now that I haven't seen like 50 times.
Yeah.
And so it's all clockwork. But early on, I would show up to a job and be nervous and be like, oh God, what am I going to get into, you know? And when there were times when I was downtown Minneapolis, there'll be old industrial buildings that are now apartments, like fancy apartments.
Yeah.
But it still has that facade of like, so like there'll be drywall in a person's apartment or condo, and then right behind it is brick. So now I wouldn't care. I would just pull out my hammer drill in with a masonry bit. Big deal. And use Tapcon screws. Well, at that time, I didn't know what to do. If I drilled in and hit something solid, I was like, I don't know, you know, because the normal drill's not going into it. And so I would excuse myself and say I had to pick up different anchors at Home Depot, right? And so I partly probably did have to do that, but more I just needed time to Google what to do or YouTube it. And then I'd watch a couple of YouTube videos and figure it out. And so that's how I did it. And so then I would know how to do that. And then I'd have the tools for it. And so then when I'd encounter another problem and have to do that same thing, then I'd go, okay, let me buy this stuff in bulk. So I always have that along. And so after probably a month, I saw probably everything that I would see from then on after a month.
I feel like there's a book with a story here. Because
Right.
I think that's incredible. And I got a lot to say on that, but I went to your Facebook page and I saw one of your recent posts. You were talking to a fellow business owner.
Yeah.
Who, basically, the concept
He's
was
got a carpet cleaning business.
Yeah. Could you talk about that? Because I thought that was a brilliant observation.
Well, we're kind of both griping over how it's hard to find good people to work for you. Because I've been, I want to ramp up some things with the agency again.
Mm-hmm.
And I need that time. So I need people to do the actual hanging the TVs. And I just keep my marketing going, Well, I've tried several people and they're just degenerates. I mean, and I pay a lot too, because I charge a lot. Therefore, I can pay these guys a lot.
Uh-huh.
And they won't show up. Or one guy showed up drunk once and was being really creepy to a client. And so Mallory's laughing because there's a review the lady left on one of the sites on my review section, but it's all caps, like a paragraph like this long, and just exclamations and but saying like, this guy Zach ripped off his boss. So what happened is the guy shows up drunk. He needed money. And so he says, hey, if you don't want to do it for his price, I'll do it for you for $50. And I would have charged 150, And so and so she took the deal. And so at that point, it's not my business,
Yeah.
You took a deal under the table with this guy, So it's on my wall though, and it just looks horrible. But if a person reads it, they'll realize, oh shit, the owner got ripped off. But she didn't pay the guy, so he left with no money. Oh, I had to can him, obviously.
I would think, if you could paying them what you're paying them, they could see a pretty easy opportunity for some good cash. You're doing all the marketing and generating all the leads. They just need to show up and do it.
That's it. But showing up is a hard problem for these people.
It is amazing how far hard work and accountability and just being on time does take you in life. It actually takes you pretty far.
Well, Bill Gates' dad has a book out. It's like 20 years old now. It's called something like Showing Up is Half the Battle. Right?
Yeah.
Just showing up. Just show up.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully you also do a good job. But chances are, if you can show up, you're probably the type that's going to do a good job. But a lot of my business is because people will try multiple businesses and they don't respond. I pick up my phone first ring and they're like, wait, what? Is this the owner? They're shocked because they're used to filling out a form that'll say, we'll get back to you ASAP. Mm-hmm. Half the time the form doesn't work because handyman sites are shit. Mm-hmm. They don't know anything about coding or, having none of that stuff. And so where I was going with that guy, the carpet cleaner, since we were griping about all that stuff, he was like, I love your marketing. That's why I hired you. And I was like, well, thank you. He said, I used to be in advertising. And so it seems like, because I had told him I had a marketing business, went a little south, I pivoted to this for the time being. Turns out this is going to be a business that I'll have forever until there's, paint on the wall TV screens,
Probably carry to other industries too, probably.
It will. I'll figure out,
Yeah.
But the guy was in advertising and he was doing all this business for a carpet cleaning company. And he just had a realization, why don't I just start my own carpet cleaning business and do the same thing I'm doing for this guy for me? He did.
Wow.
Now he lives in the most expensive city here in Minneapolis, Wayzata.
Wow.
Yep. He's just a blue collar dude. looks like he probably drank too much in high school, didn't get great grades, that type of guy, but personable as can be and bust his ass, you know?
Yeah.
You
Well, in
know?
both those businesses, the TV mounting and carpet cleaning, I can actually think of a really good carpet cleaner in Vegas to this day. Like, just phenomenal. Owner picks up the phone,
Yeah, right?
always delivered, does an amazing job each time. Uh, that goes so far because mounting TVs and carpet cleaning, people ask their friends, like, hey, I got to get my TV mounted. Who should do it? The
Yeah.
mounting man. He did mine. He was amazing. He came through
Yeah,
it.
and then you go, the mounting man? He's called the mounting man? They always laugh, that little chuckle, knowing that it's an innuendo that I'm using. You know?
But I think,
um,
yeah, it's, I don't know. I think this is a great case study of someone. And now look, it's one of those situations too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where like everything you've done marketing wise up to this point led you to this opportunity,
oh,
where
yeah. I
you
mean,
saw like you knew how to do everything else but mount the actual TVs. I'm like, well, I
yeah,
can
I
figure
didn't know
that
how to do
out.
the service.
You worked it out. You know what I mean? Like you have a ton of people who could probably mount TVs.
Yeah, well, everybody I know that I graduated with mounted TV. You know,
Yeah.
no, they don't live around me, and the ones who do are too successful to be mounting TVs, and
Right.
so I can't use any of them. And so, yeah, the TV mounting is a very small part of my business, though.
Mm.
A part of the business. It seems like it's the most important because it's the service, but there's tons of facets of the business that don't involve showing up and mounting the TV. Getting the gig is the whole game.
Hmm.
And you can hire anybody to do this, take it the last mile and hang it. You know,
You're doing a lot of Google ads, you say, and internet
it's
marketing for it.
95% is Google. Yeah. So typically in a month I spend around 2.4, 2,400.
Hmm.
Yeah, in a month on Google, which isn't a lot, but it's all I've maximized the search volume,
Hmm.
or I thought I did. And then the other day I said, what if I just put it up to $10 a click? I'll pay $10 a click and see what happens. You know, I thought, I'll probably just waste some money, but at least I'll know.
Yeah.
I did it. That day I had more orders than I'd ever had. I had $2,400 worth of orders, and I spent $310 or
Oh my.
326. So I'll spend
Jeez.
326 all day for 2,000. You know, and so I thought this is going to continue that way. It turns out it was an anomaly of the day. The next day nobody called,
Yeah.
and I spent 280. And so I was like, okay, all right. And then the next day it picked up again, and so now I'm thinking, are certain days just terrible where people don't call? And if
Mm.
so, shut off the ads on that day,
Mm.
you know. So that's going to be my next test is
Mm.
just seeing if certain days are bad, and then I can save money on those days. If nobody's going to book anyway, I'd rather not pay Google, you know.
Are you
So,
just sticking to the Minneapolis area for now?
so I just put out an ad last Friday for Chicago,
Ah.
and I found two people. One's an electrician, which is fantastic because he can also do put in the electrical outlets and stuff like that that get the much bigger money. Like mounting the TV makes the X, but if you can do that other stuff, you can make 3X.
Yeah.
You know, because you need upsells in a business. You know,
Mm.
more profit centers, and so now I'm starting to put together a new site. I registered it last night, the Chicago Mount or the Mounting Man Chicago
Amazing.
.com. And so I'm just going to replicate my exact site and then change some of the wording to reflect, Chicago metro area versus Minneapolis metro area or whatever. And so I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, I feel like since Chicago's like 15 times bigger than Minneapolis, something like that,
Hmm.
maybe a little more than that. But anyway, it's a way bigger city. I mean, I've already dialed in Minneapolis. And so there's no reason I shouldn't be able to take the same ad and then do the same thing, but on a much bigger scale.
It's like Independence Day, except for TVs. Like there's TVs
Yeah.
floating over cities, and you're just taking over this one. And
I'm trying.
I've never successfully done what you're doing, but I'm familiar with the concept. You know, you do the first version of what you're doing in a particular
Yep.
place and dominate it. Figure it out, all the kinks,
Yep.
all the, you know, what works, what doesn't work, and then it's like, all right, let's take this branding. You know,
Yep.
we're going to put XYZ branding Chicago, XYZ branding Miami, XYZ branding.
Yeah.
Go from there. I've
I mean,
seen.
that's
Yeah,
my end game goal.
yeah,
I don't know. I got to try Chicago first. Maybe it'll just
right.
bomb, you know,
Yeah,
and then I'll just be sticking here. But I mean, now it's rare that I have like so many days now are over $1,000 profit that it's getting to the point where I can see in a couple months where it'll probably be every single day.
mm-hmm.
And so that's a good income right there, about 30 grand a month.
Heck yeah.
Now, at that point, I'll probably really want to have employees do the work. And so that'll cut it back to whatever it'll cut it back to, you know, after employee costs. But that would be well worth it, because at that point, I'm doing nothing other than probably showing up sometimes when the guy doesn't know what to do. And I go, I'll come over and take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I tell people when I try them out. I just say, if you get stuck on anything, I don't want you wrecking their wall. I'll just come do it, you know, and don't worry, I'm not going to come do it and scold you about it. I'm going to just come do it because I get it. I've been in that shoes before, you know, where you don't know. And so I want, instead of them fumbling around like I used to have to do, I want them to just call me and I'll go do it and show them how it's done.
Yeah.
So
you never would have predicted this, 2 years ago? Never.
My friends laugh. I'm not a handyman. I didn't know how to use tools. But you know, I got a brain and I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And so now I can fix like damn near anything. I fixed the ladies' garbage disposal. I've some of the things, it's like, God, I'm just an awesome manly man, you know.
YouTube isn't incredible. I will say, like YouTube University and Googling, it's incredible.
Anything.
Yeah, I've done stuff on my car. Yeah, like, I need to learn how to blah, blah, or change my turn signal light in my car. Sure enough, there were 3 videos on my exact car model right there.
I just did a similar thing yesterday.
Yeah.
Also, now I change my tires and do my own oil. Now, are either of those hard? No. I also do my brakes. None of those are hard. But before I thought, I'm not the type of guy that can do that. You know. Yeah. It's just what you think. But now that I got so used to using tools, it's like, all right, that's just like this. It's like surfing when you know how to skateboard, you know. It's an easy shift into other things once you know your way around every tool. So that's how it's been. It's been fun. Or the other day even. So Mallory's car didn't start. She was at Target and her car didn't start, and she called, and I was just down the road and I popped in. All I did is open the hood. I knew it was corrosion on the battery connector. I got that off, put it back on, car started. 2 years ago, I would not have known what the hell to do. I would have told her to call the AAA, call a tow truck, you know, or I would have went and bought her a battery and brought it over. But now, I don't know. I have a lot of these skills now, which I like, being a father with these handyman skills. Just feels like a father thing. No,
a man's man. I was just talking on the last podcast. I think it was the last, maybe I can't remember what exact one it was. My dad, before I left to move out west, took me outside and said, "Hey, we're going to learn how to change. You're going to learn how to change a tire right now."
Oh yeah.
Talked me through it. He did it, and he goes, "Now you do it." And I remember at the time, I'm like, do I have to be doing this? But then guess what? What happened about 3, 4, 5 years later? I'm out in the middle of the desert. Boom!
Oh, man.
Pulled into a gas station. I got to change the tire because I knew what to do. And it's like,
good.
You don't realize, and it's a gift and curse of society now. Like, technology is great. Don't get me wrong. It's allowing us to do what we're doing right here.
Yeah,
that's how we met.
I never neg on it. It's amazing.
But at the same time, there's also this other side of, we can lose sight of certain skill sets and things if we're relying on it too much. If
Yeah.
that makes sense, you know. So it's
No,
kind
it does.
it's one of those,
Or sometimes I'll get annoyed that, you know, online marketers think that's like the only thing to do in the world. It's like, no, you need fucking nurses, doctors, lawyers. I mean, there's a lot of things a society needs. And online
yeah,
marketers isn't really at the top of that list, you
yeah,
know? Now, are you making a lot of money? That's great. Great for you, though. But you're not like a pillar of society that's needed.
mhm,
And so I know that about, you know, myself when I'm an online marketer or when I'm a TV mounter.
mhm.
I'm not saving the world, you know? I'm just making some money and making some people happy here and there mounting their TV, you
Yeah.
know? But people put too much self-importance on, I don't know, being a person who can make good videos, for instance,
Mm.
where there's a lot of people who are going about their jobs, like doing like work that society needs. And I've realized that more, sort of the Mike Rowe mentality, you know, where he preaches, if you don't, if you're not going to be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, etc., skip college, go to tech school, learn a valuable trade, and you'll make 100 grand a year, you know? And so since I've been in this sort of handyman world, I've thought that way a lot more. Been more empathetic towards people I used to call burnouts, who
Mm.
just went right into being a mechanic after high school or whatever.
Right.
You know, you kind of look down on that, but now I don't. I am. It shouldn't have taken me this long. I mean, I never really looked down on it, but you know what I mean. It's kind of
I
like,
know exactly what you mean.
you know,
What
like you're not following your dreams. You just went and became a mechanic. You know, that type of thing.
it's funny, the older I get and the more, and this injury gave me a lot of perspective too on the world too. It's like things that I thought I wanted and thought I
Yeah.
in it's good to have goals and it's good to have ambition, but I used to think similar in terms of um I can't stay where I'm at here in the Midwest. I got to go out west, and I got to, I'm going to
Same here.
Vegas, and I'm going to Hollywood. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
And then you get out here, and you're like, oh, it's cool. I mean, the weather's for me. That's number one. It's like,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
just the
It's
weather. At
amazing.
this point, it's about the weather. But it's like I do look back, and you do see your peers like buying houses, having families, doing the whole shebang. You know what, man?
Yeah.
I love it. I look at that now, and I'm like, dude, that's so good for them. Like they're doing that and pursuing that, and it's a huge accomplishment. I think too, like a lot of people think there's something wrong with trying to live a quote unquote just regular life, and it's actually a pretty beautiful thing.
Well, it is. And also, when you realize, like, all right, I've been chasing my dreams, but it's cost a lot of money and time to do so. And then you talk to your friends, and they've got $300,000 in equity built up in their home. They've got $250,000 in their pension. And it's like, fuck, that's the boring, mundane shit,
Yeah,
right? But it
yeah.
piles up and gets you a safety net and a nest egg.
Mm.
Yeah. And so,
Well,
but
yeah,
I'm glad I took the path I did though, because
yeah,
like you and I are people that we got wanderlust. We need to travel. We need to see things, meet people. That's just what
experience.
we are. You know,
Yeah,
that's just how it
yeah.
is. I would have been miserable if I took a corporate job out of college, and I mean, I just would have hated it. So
Well, you seem to have found for at least the time being, the golden goose, though, right? Because you found something that gives you
yeah,
both. You do have the family knife now. You do
yeah,
have, I mean, I know you put in tons of work into this, but because you've put in all that work and you have the mind to orchestrate it, there is going to get the point where you're going to be able to step back from
yeah.
a
Well,
lot of these.
even today, I had 4 clients. You know, it didn't feel like work at all. I was just driving around. Malia went to 3 of them. $1,000 of today's profit. I had Malia with me.
No babysitting
So
costs.
yeah, exactly. But it's fun to have her tag along, and I just tell the clients, hey, if you want me to come earlier in the day before Mallory gets home, then I'm bringing my daughter. And they're like, oh, bring her along. We have a puppy,
Ah,
So they love it. And then I get bigger tips because they're like, oh, this nice father. And I'm the owner, so it's not like they need to tip me. And
Another
so
arsenal in Daddy's marketing plan.
that's it. It is. I use it on the website. I have a on the mountingman.tv. I have a video, and then she pops into the video, and then I'm obviously pulling at heartstrings and showing, oh, this is a good guy,
I just realized how genius of a domain the mountingman.tv is.
Well,
Isn't that perfect?
well, .com was taken, so I was like, well, shit, .tv's maybe better anyway for what I'm
Makes
doing.
more sense.
Yeah, it's perfect. It really is. So, but it was out of necessity, though. I would have bought .com if
Of
I could have.
course. Yeah.
But I'm glad it turned out this way now.
And one as we're on this subject still, one thing, as you've told me this story, this is a wonderful story, by the way. Like this is amazing. I really feel like I just read one of my business books, like case studies.
Right.
What I love about this story, that I think whoever's listening or watching, whether you're an artist, a business, whatever you do, I think for the pandemic, for a lot of people, one of the key words, I mean, aside from just survive and have mental sanity,
Yeah.
is pivot. And I
Yeah,
feel
pivot.
I see what you've done with this is like, you know what, you didn't make excuses. You didn't say, oh, well, this isn't fair and I'm entitled to this, like a lot of people do on everything. It's
Yeah,
you're like,
no.
all right, well, okay, I'm in a position now. What am I going to do about it?
I
You
might have
found an
felt that
opportunity that's
entitlement
out
if
there.
I didn't have a daughter.
Mm,
But that shifts the perspective. It's like you can't fucking wallow. You got to get going,
yeah.
And so I don't think I would have had that perspective before her, but I definitely wouldn't have it after.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
but
think
yeah,
it's commendable, and it's also inspirational. Mounting TVs. That's something
yeah, that's the
when you're
most
thinking of business
mundane,
ideas.
most mundane non-factor of life. Mounting TVs, right?
Yeah.
It just is. It's just there's no glory in it or anything like that. But I market it as if it's like I'm James Bond, And so,
Exactly.
well, because all I did is took all this imagery from the agency and then just went, why reinvent the wheel? I'm just gonna do that. And then I thought, well, shit, nobody's gonna hire me because on my splash page cover photo, I'm in a suit, and instead of a gun, I have a DeWalt impact driver. And it looks like it's got a silencer on the end, but it's just a nut driver. And then I'm scowling direct into the camera, instead of like on sales pages for handyman stuff. Usually you want like a smiling figure,
Yeah.
a welcoming figure. But I thought this will stand out so much. At first I thought, fuck, I don't fucking care. I'm doing it my way because I'm stubborn. And then if it doesn't work, then maybe I'll be less stubborn. But it worked right away. People loved it. They got it. They knew it was an inside joke, the mounting man, they knew it was purposely ridiculous, in a sexual innuendo.
Yeah.
Everybody says it like the mounting man, really.
I was going to start
today,
to go a direction with that. I'll keep my mouth shut.
I have a gay client. He's an author here in town, and he's fantastic. Today I had to mount curtains for him. He wasn't home. He let me in through he's got a August lock, So, but he afterwards said, the mounting man in our gay community, that could be taken the wrong way. And then he put laughy face. But I get a lot of that sort of thing.
Yeah, you might get some. Don't be surprised if you get a call and you show up to a job and you're like, "So where's the TV?" They're like, "What TV?"
What TV? What are you talking?
And they're like, "Oh,
they're in thongs.
We'll pay you for your time. Sorry about that."
Oh, you're literally just a TV mounter? Oh, sorry. I apologize for thinking otherwise.
You really got my wheels turning to how many other opportunities there are out there of mundane things that no one ever thinks of. Like, is it just, I'm sure there is everywhere.
And I only found it because I just said, screw it, I'm going to make any money I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kept realizing this sucks, this is fine, this makes money, so I'll do it, even though it sucks. And then TV mounting was like, first, I didn't even have mounting as a category because I'm like, I don't know, put anything on the wall. But then I just thought, quit being a coward. I can always turn the job down,
Right.
turn. And so one day I switched it on, and there she went. And then I
Jumped
just
in the
figured it
deep
out.
end. Learn how to swim.
Yeah,
That's what you did.
yeah.
Um,
But I mean, there's a lot
yeah.
of other things
Mhm.
like that
Mhm.
out there in the world. Is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
That buddies come to me with things now where they go, every year I blow up my water lines, right? And I have a guy comes with a little air compressor on the back of his truck, and then just blows out the lines. It takes 15 minutes, and I pay him. I think they said $200. Maybe it's 150,
Mhm.
whatever. But he goes house to house to house to house. And so I was like, well, shit, that would be an easy cake business too,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I haven't had time to figure out first how to do it, do the service, because I don't know at all. I started tried to start a pressure washing business, and I bought a pressure washer, everything. It's just sat. It's just sat
Yeah.
there. I did one job, but the TV mounting just kept getting bigger and bigger that I realized, well, clearly I not only don't need to divide my time into two businesses, I should solely focus on this one and expand to different cities. And so I've just cut all the external things out and focused on TV mounting.
I had a former mentor one time tell me a story where he had focused all his time into this one business for like years, put
Yeah.
all this energy into it and everything. But then out of nowhere, something he never even would have, it was some course he did, or I can't remember, it was some niche, but just struck gold. And he said, I'll
Oh
never
yeah.
forget what he said. He said he just dropped it all. Like everything he had been working on for done.
Yeah.
Went exactly to what works. And I've had problem with that in the
Well,
past. Like,
that's a smart thing to do. A lot
yeah,
of people will hold on to what they're familiar with,
right. Or
But
pride or
he just
ego.
dove in and went, "This is the gold. I'm going where the gold is."
That's where
Right?
the money's at, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
I had a friend the other day who's like, "You don't really want TV mounting to be your thing, do you?" And I was like, "Well, no, I don't consider myself a handyman for sure, and I want to ramp up the marketing thing." But I said, "It brings in so much cash flow. What the fuck do I care?" You know, this guy had to borrow me money, or I had to borrow him money, and so
mm,
it's like, maybe you should shut the fuck up. I don't need to listen to your advice.
yeah.
And so,
The
but
older I
yeah, I
get to,
don't.
the more you
But
realize
I'm
ego.
following the
Yeah.
gold. I'm
Mm,
following where the money is.
yeah. That's the whole point, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's this too. Like when I would do branding work, I'm
yeah.
doing branding work for all types of businesses. Mostly as mastermind groups,
Hmm.
but I would also do it for people who would just contact me, like friends from back home who own construction companies or roofing companies, stuff like that. So I've done a ton of handyman marketing, like a ton of it over the last 15 years. And so I was well versed in how to make something great for that market. It didn't once occur to me to do it for myself
Yeah.
until I was forced into the position, which now seems ridiculous. Like I was sitting right there all the time. But
Well, and like you said, it's like
if you
when,
don't know how to do
yeah.
something, you don't think of
Mhm.
making money off of it.
Yeah. And the importance of you doing it yourself too. It reminds me of, I don't know if McDonald's is the greatest example, or even other businesses where the CEO started at the bottom. He learned how to
Yeah.
do this, and
Flip
that, so that
burgers.
when he makes those decisions, so
Yeah.
that way that employee's like, "Hey, Marshall, I just don't know. Hold on, I'll be there."
Yep.
You've played every position of the field,
Yeah.
even though
That's
now you're
right.
in the press box eventually. But if you got to come down to the
Yeah.
field, you can do it. You know?
Yeah. You can still strike somebody out.
Yeah.
That's right.
And this has been thank you so much for sharing all this. I know one thing I wanted to touch on moving forward with your just marketing and branding in general after this
Yeah.
experience with the agency. What are your plans with the agency right now? Is it just to concentrate on the Mounting Man for now, or are you open to working on different brands and businesses at this moment?
Well, I've got a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
One of them I don't know if I'll do. Like I could make more money than the Mounting Man is making, if I just put out a course on how to fucking make $200,000 a year mounting TVs, you
Right.
know. And I wouldn't do any work then. No, I would still do the mounting man because it makes too much money, but I would have other people do the work. But there's that, and also I've got a new sort of 8-week course that I'm working on, and I mean it's what I probably should have done in the past. But you know, when money's coming in, you're like, well, it's fine. This is good. Um, but now I've had time to think, and also I have money to put out to test ideas.
Mhm.
You know, when you're broke, you're not going to go on Facebook and spend $2,000 testing an ad. You know, but now I can do that. No,
Yeah.
no big deal. And so it's opened up a lot of other possibilities. But no, the mounting man I'm gonna try to blow it up as big as I can. Hopefully I can exit someday where a big company buys me out because they love the brand and everything. Because it'll be turnkey for them. They won't have to spend any money on branding. Usually if you buy a company, you have to really rejigger the whole thing and spruce it up and everything. People just buy it outright. So, well, that's a long ways off, I'm sure, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely, I've got something I think is going to be pretty popular for the agency.
Yeah. Everything comes in seasons, right? There's just certain seasons where right now
Yeah,
maybe it is you're just mounting TVs and marketing, but that's going to lead you to the
yeah,
next thing, whatever that may be.
yeah. No, it's for sure. It's just kind of coming back to the agency, but with new knowledge, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like
Because before it's like, you know, tons of people who can market how to get rich courses,
Mhm.
but can they market a real business?
Mm.
Not a lot of them can. They can play off like insecurities of low IQ or low information buyers, like people who are prone to late night infomercials are a certain type, right? But they're not going to a Mercedes Benz dealer, for instance. It's a different crowd, and you have to know how to market to to a more discerning buyer that doesn't buy into the bullshit language or hyperbolic headlines, you know.
You bring up a topic I debated whether or not to go into this because it is a
Go
fine
for it.
line of because you've done a lot of online marketing and branding. I know you've seen a lot of that world.
Oh yeah.
You make a good point. Like there's people like you went actually like now you have created a business and been out in the
Yeah.
field and done it. There's proof you've done it. But how many stuff out there? I don't pay attention to a lot of it anymore. But you know the headlines like get rich in 30 days and
Yeah.
with only no money down and buy real estate for nothing and this blah, blah, blah. It's all they're selling you how to get rich. But what do they do to get rich? It's like how much
Sell
of
the
that is
course.
bullshit for lack of a better term. I'm
Well,
sure there's some legit people out there.
they've often just sold the course.
Yeah.
They sold the course on how to get rich. That's how they get rich.
Yeah. Just by
They
selling
weren't rich
courses.
beforehand. I mean, I don't know any internet marketing guru who's rich beforehand, like that off an actual business. I can't think of one off the top of my head. And I mean, I just can't think of one. And I know all of them, but they got rich by online marketing business success, which is fine. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I'm not knocking them. It's more
They
of
paid
like,
me a lot of money, but
yeah.
yeah, it is a thing where it is a cliche to you got rich teaching people how to get rich.
I just question how many people actually get rich off the people that get rich. And if you really do know how to get really rich, are you really going to share that knowledge with everyone?
No, you're not.
For
Never.
$39.99. Like,
yeah, you never are. You're selling some shit you did 5 years ago that worked then that has no bearing on today's current reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas if someone questions you and you have a bunch of other stuff to back you up, but like, it's like, see that TV?
yeah. Yeah. Now, I mean, now it's, yeah, like you said, it's an actual business. you know, like not like online businesses aren't, but I'm saying how to make money things are kind of hustles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
kind of preying on the weak as much as you can. You're vulturing off different markets as they pop up. You know, obviously the crypto world. Now everybody's like a crypto genius. You
Yeah.
know, like how to make money off cryptocurrencies courses everywhere. You know,
You
so
have a
they just jump
background.
on the new
Yeah.
trend.
You have a background in currency, don't you, to some extent?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
to a great extent. It was my first like big thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do
I
you
was funneling money out of Iraq right after the war started in 2003. I named my business ISIS.
really?
Yeah, it was a great brand. Iraqi stock investing system. That's what I called it. And then obviously years later, the terrorist organization popped up with the same name, and that went south.
What you're telling me you had that name in that area before the actual terrorist
Way
group?
before, way before. And
Whoa.
also, since my business was funneling money out of Iraq, it was really fucking shady for the FBI when they found out. And then the name really set it off, you know.
It's like, okay, we may need to close shop.
It dwindled pretty quickly. And then I moved to La Jolla. I still had money though. So I moved to La Jolla and then just got into the, Frank Kern, Kevin Nations,
Mm.
all that world. And that's what led me to, all the mastermind groups.
How'd you like live? So you did live out. How did you like living in the San Diego area?
I loved it. Like
Yeah.
Mallory and I went to La Jolla, last year together? I mean, we just love it there. If I could afford to live where I'd want to live there, you know,
Soon, if Mounting
that'd
Man
be
keeps
nice.
going.
Well, yeah, where I want to live, Alicia Keys owns it.
Oh.
I
Okay.
got a lot of work for the mounting man to do. I could buy it from her. Um, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely live in La Jolla. I have lived in La Jolla, not too far off the Cove. So, but it was like a shithole. Like it was like you're pooping in a toilet from 1960. Like
Oh
that
yeah.
type of a place, which I didn't care. I just want to be close to the ocean.
Yeah.
But now with a family, I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah. That's how apartments in LA can be too.
Yeah, they definitely are
Yeah.
because you'll take anything,
Hmm.
and you have to pay it. You know,
It's hard to get a place too out here. I mean, now fortunately, I now have some his rental history out here. But when you're first coming out here without
yeah,
rental, even when you got money, it can be difficult.
no,
You
it is
know?
difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I moved to Hollywood, it was Eric had lived there his whole life, so
Oh, really?
yeah, so he's the one who had all the knowledge of all of it, the rental
Mhm.
history in LA, that type of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One quick thing for Hollywood, and we'll wrap here because we're getting to that point. But you used to do the photography, of the homeless in Hollywood,
Yeah.
which I think that was a pretty um, big precursor to the years that followed. Because I mean, I've lived here 4 years, and I know San Diego, LA, warmer climates are always going to have a higher homeless
Of
population.
course.
But I mean, it's
Honolulu's filled
literally
with
exploded,
homeless. Yeah.
in just the time I've been here.
That's what
So,
everybody said.
yeah. So what could you maybe give us a short how that happened? Like you
Well,
taking
one day I
photos.
saw this guy in the street on Hollywood Boulevard. He was not in the street. He was like tucked into an alley. It wasn't even a whole alley. It was like a little inlet. But anyway, just to kind of be off so people aren't walking on him. And I looked at him and he had he looked like he would have been a movie star if he didn't end up there.
Hmm.
Like he was great looking under all the like grime and shit on his face and smelling like piss and beard and long hair that just was obviously not showered for months and months. And so, but he looked amazing. And so I just asked him, "Could I give you $20 to take your photo?" And he was so drunk he didn't really know what I was saying. And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm taking the photo and here's $20." And he was super happy about the 20. And I just posted it and then it just went bonkers. People loved it. And then I was like, you know what? That kind of felt good to give that guy $20.
Mm.
I could walk around town giving people $20 here and there to take their photo and then post it. And then what happened is then people would send care packages, and then I'd go like modern day Santa Claus and delivering them around town just to people that I thought were decent, you know. And so then I was gonna start recording it, but I thought that seems a little shady. I
Mm.
tried it once at a park for what's that water bucket challenge? Is that for ALS?
Oh, the ALS. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
ice
that was for
bucket
ALS.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, so I enlisted this homeless guy to do it, and I paid him maybe $50 for that. And when I posted it, I shared the link with him. He broke down. He said, "I didn't think you were gonna frame me as a homeless man." I was like, "Fuck."
Oh,
And so I immediately took it down, and then I was like, I just thought, yeah, maybe I'm just exploiting. And so I just wasn't sure what to do from there.
either
Because
way, though.
how he felt was just like crushing,
Mm.
and I was like, "Fuck, that's not what I wanted."
Well, and that's why it always turns me. And again, this is, I mean, well, I think that's good about what you were doing. You were creating awareness. You're creating
Yeah,
awareness
that's
of,
what I was trying, but
yeah, but it's a touchy thing, right?
yeah, like nobody wants people to be aware that they're homeless.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
want them to be aware that there's a problem, but
yeah,
that's still a human
but
being, I guess. Yeah, I see what
yeah,
you're saying.
exactly.
It's kind
And
of the thing
so
too, like when people
I
post,
didn't
yeah,
even think about it though. I was just happy go lucky thinking it was great.
yeah.
And then, but I never thought of that perspective. I don't know why it seems obvious after he said it. I was like, fuck, you
Mm,
know. Like if I get wasted at a bar and somebody goes, "Look at I posted this video online of you." Like, what the fuck? What
right.
do you do that for?
Oh,
You know?
thank God, Instagram Live and smartphones really weren't in existence back in the
Oh, I
SJD
know.
TV days and the party days of me. I mean, I definitely I chose to put content out there at one point, but I'm like, man, if my party days would have been during
It's
the
horrible.
it
Or if you're in Justin Bieber's shoes, for instance, I mean, obviously, he gets super rich and famous at a young age. He's gonna do some stupid shit.
of course,
Not a horrible person for it.
of
We all
course,
could have done the same.
yeah.
I mean, goodness.
Oh God, all those politicians and everyone that's thank God, just thank the Lord that you didn't have social media back,
Yeah.
or you probably wouldn't be in office right now. Like,
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
well,
I think
Marshall,
we'll get to a more transparent world, though. Hey,
you
I
think
got
so?
something to ask you before we leave.
Yeah, of course.
Um, you know the Amazon show you're on, where you're playing the detective,
Four
and you
feet.
shot the guy in the head, and then it just there's no narrative after that. What happened? Like you can't
Uh,
just shoot a guy and nobody goes, "Hey, what the fuck?" Mallory and I are like, "Well, what?" They just acted like, "Oh, you can
in
just obviously
season
shoot a guy in
two,
the head
it
if you're
all
a
comes
detective."
season two, which we've already filmed. No, I see. No, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it kind of leaves you like, well, hey, he just murdered someone out in the desert.
Yeah, nobody gave a fuck.
Season two, which has already
I
been
think he'd be
filmed.
prosecuted for it, or at least like put on leave for a bit. Mallory's
It's a
laughing.
big play. It's a big storyline in the next season that hasn't been
Okay,
released yet, but
good,
we filmed it.
good,
It's all filmed. Shout out to Ogino, a 4 fee. But yeah, it gets addressed.
good, good.
But yeah, like yeah, I do shoot him, and it's like, well, now what?
Yeah, I know. I was just like, what? Nobody cares about this. You can just take the law into your own hands and shoot the man.
Yeah, no, detectives. No, it definitely plays into the next season.
Okay, good.
So when that comes out, I'll definitely be announcing when that's out. And thank you so much for watching it and
That cracked me
supporting.
up. Well, yeah, obviously I'm going to a buddy on an Amazon show. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was a great experience. What led me out to LA, really, that
Good.
experience, and because it was shot in Vegas. The creator Ogino is in Vegas, and he wrote this thing. And I had already been doing like creative stuff. This was like the first time
Yeah.
someone handed me a script. So doing that led me to taking acting classes out there, which led me to finding out about this acting school out here in LA.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just everything just all pushed me toward LA. And then I came out to LA and went to this acting school for 2 years, which is an amazing experience. And then the pandemic hit. And then, then I got hurt, and so we're in a different space now. But it's like, yeah, it is amazing how things lead you to things.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Things lead you
Yeah,
to
as
things.
long as you're open to giving it a shot, and
Yeah.
you always are, you'll dive
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I will too.
Yeah.
A lot of people have ideas, and they're like, "Nah, I'm gonna stay in my hometown here."
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's well, I guess one last question before we wrap, if you have a few minutes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What's life like in Minneapolis, Minnesota? How do you like the life there compared to living out on the West Coast?
So if Minneapolis could be where LA is, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Minneapolis in the spring, summer, and a bit of fall. Lately, it's last 5 years. It's been all fall. It's been great because of global warming.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great here.
Yeah.
Not so much for the low-lying islands and the sea, but
Right.
here it is. But no, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. There's trails everywhere to go hiking, biking, running. There's lakes everywhere to go swimming, skiing, wakeboarding, pontooning, just day drinking if you want, whatever you want to do. I love it. But then winter hits and you're like, and then you're like, God, why do I live here? What am I thinking? And you think that for 5 months. So,
it gets brutal there. I mean, I'm from Illinois, and it gets bad there, but I think it gets way worse.
You are.
Yeah, I'm from Illinois.
Yeah, it definitely gets worse up this north, but still, it's bad either way. Whether it's 20 or 0, it still sucks.
Yeah, I know in Minnesota, I mean, you guys will get, just deep snow, like not just snow, but no, there's like mountains of it, and you're not going anywhere.
Like you got to shovel your car out.
Yeah,
the snow. Yeah, for sure. And that's coming soon. What is it? October 14th? Maybe we got a month until it really, really snows. We'll have little dusting snows here and there, but I don't mind that.
Well, in about 2-3 years' time, when Mounting Man has blown up to national things and you've sold it or whatever, right. I'm going to hit you up and go, hey, Marshall, do you want to do podcast number? I'm on my 300th podcast. Can we do?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to drive down to La Jolla, hit the 405. Let's do an episode on the beach. That's what we'll do.
We will, my friend. We will for sure. In Alicia Keys' old house.
In her old house. Because you're going to sell more TVs than she sold records. She sold a lot of records. So it's people love TV. That's the thing. TV's not going away.
No, it's definitely not.
Just like the iPhone, they're going to come out with new ones. Oh, I need to get the brand new latest blah 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 TV. Like,
well, when people ask me, they're like, should I get the QLED for $3,500 versus the OLED for $1,500? I'm like, get the OLED. You'll never know the difference. You can hardly tell when they're side by side in Best Buy. You got to be like, I guess that one's a little better. $2,000 better? No.
Quick question: do you have any partnerships with any of the people who sell TVs in town?
No, I don't know how to get in. Because it's Costco and Best Buy and Target, and to some extent Walmart and also Sam's Club. All big corporations. Whenever they have sales, I get a huge spike that week. And so then I'll go, where'd you get the TV? They go, oh, Costco's got a sale. And I go, oh, that's why it's made a lot more money this week. So I had this little tiny little tangent. So many people that go to Best Buy and buy a TV hire Best Buy, but then they hire this shitty little service, and then the people don't show up, and so then people call me, and so I get that. Probably a third of my business comes from that.
Wow.
And I was thinking, what if I just had people stand outside Best Buy and hand out flyers all day, like the people who left with a TV, I was like, that might work. So that wouldn't be me getting in with a Best Buy, but kind of skirting the rules by doing that. So I don't know.
I'm not kidding you. I'm in Santa Monica this last Sunday, and I always take my book. I see a guy handing out something to everyone who has a book, so I knew he was coming to me. And he goes, "Hey, book reader." Turns out he's an author of a book. I ordered
Oh,
both his
really?
books, actually.
I thought it was going to be a Scientologist.
No.
But
Come to our church. But
that's
he
fantastic that he's marketing
but
his
it's
own
genius though
book.
when you think about it, because at least a book reader, even
Yeah.
if they don't go buy your book, it's like this person reads books. Hey,
I would
I'm a book author.
100% buy it, and I would buy it on the spot. I would go on my Amazon account,
Yeah.
buy it in front of him, because I would love that gumption, and I'd want to support it.
And same thing with your TVs, man. When someone's, I mean, you'd have to probably maybe hire someone to go do that job, maybe, but like go out.
Oh,
to the
I'm not doing that. I am not doing that.
Like a young kid or
can't.
something like that, just looking for some pocket change.
No, I know.
That's great.
I mean, he's going to get
experience.
booted out after like an hour or two, and then head to the next one. You know.
Yeah. But what a great marketing experience for them.
It was a strange thought the other day. I don't know if I could do it, but I might give it a shot.
I was just one last thing on this. I was thinking the pandemic, I could see TV sales going up during this time because more people are spending time in their house.
Yep, it did. It was just an accidental perfect business for the pandemic.
Wow.
That was just complete accident. Now it would have done well either way.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, it was like immediate success because people were home. The people that hire me have money, so they weren't hurting for cash.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people who were hurting for cash, they would get that $1,400 from the government and be like, "I'm going to buy a TV."
Welcome to America, baby.
That's right. And so I was like, "Give me that sweet government money." Right there. Yeah.
Your stimulus just went straight to the mounting man.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's
well,
right.
Marshall, this has been a treat, man. Like this weekend.
It has, my friend, man.
Thank you so much for making this happen, taking the time. I really feel. I mean, we talked about some good things, but I think your Mounting Man story and case. I'm calling it a case study because I really do think it's
kind of
brilliant. Case study on just entrepreneurship, marketing, just reading markets and opportunities. And I'm really happy for you, man, that you've really
I appreciate that.
Made that work. And I've reserved the end of the show. If you have nothing I think you've offered so many great things already, but if there's anything you want to leave us with, it could be inspiration. It could be something that's been on your mind. It can be a book you read, anything you want, any last word, it's yours.
Well, I guess just to sum up what we were talking about is just dive in and you'll figure it out. That's it. Just go for it. You'll figure it out. If you're that type of person. If you're not, then you're probably not going to go for it anyway. But if you're the type of person who'll jump off the cliff, you'll figure it out.
Jump in the net will appear, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And if people want to follow you and find you, what are the proper social media, website links, anything they should find?
Facebook is my whole thing. So just Marshall Wayne. My personal account is all I use. I have 10 business pages, but I don't ever use them because they're just for marketing purposes. They're for ads, and so I never really post anything that anybody would care about. Yeah. And so, if you want to see the Mounting Man, if they want to see the visual imagery, it's just themountingman.tv. And so they can check out the imagery and go, that is different. And wonder, how does that guy get any sales? And then realize that I'm probably the biggest TV mounting company in the cities now.
Wow. And if they want to get a hold of you, they can just get a hold of you on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm always on there.
Yeah, this is a treat. This is a treat.
It was a blast.
This is a check-in, man. We have check-ins every few years, and we'll have another one.
We do.
The La Jolla retreat will be.
I'll talk to you in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. I always do a screenshot at the end, picture, if you will. One, whenever you're ready. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Well, Marshall Wayne, this has been epic, to say the least.
It's been fantastic, my friend. I appreciate it.
Much love and much blessings to you, Mallory, and it's Malia. Is that her name?
Yeah, Malia. Yeah.
Beautiful family. I'm going to continue to follow. live my family life through yours.
Yeah, heck yeah, do
In
it.
terms of I'm very happy for you, man. It's very happy to see where
Thank you,
life's
my
taking
friend.
you and where it's going to take you next. I think it's incredible. So until
Thank you,
next
my
time,
friend.
stay warm that winter, and hopefully people are going to need a lot of TVs mounted because they're not going outside in Minneapolis.
I hope they do. Keep buying those TVs, people.
All right, brother. Well, we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye.